Hi, I'm Chad with Move Forward Guitar. This lesson is from our course, Intermediate Course 1. If you'd like to see the rest of the lessons in this course, download the jam tracks, and download the corresponding e-guide which includes detailed charts and diagrams for each lesson, click the link on the screen or look in the description below. Welcome to Lesson 2. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you the next notes that you should memorize, and I'm also going to explain what sharps and flats are. So in the last lesson we talked about natural notes that you should memorize, which on the 6th string were E, F, G, A, on the 5th string A, B, C, D, and then the 1st string just mimicked the 6th string, so it's easy to memorize the 1st string. And I also told you that between E and F and B and C are a half step. There's nothing in between those two notes. So all natural notes have a whole step apart, or a whole step apart from each other, meaning 2 frets, except E and F and B and C. So what happens between all the natural notes that are a whole step apart? For example, if I was on F on the 1st fret on the 6th string, and I go up a whole step to G, there's obviously a fret in between there. So what note is that? That's where we run into sharps and flats, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this lesson, and then tell you which ones to memorize. And sharps and flats use the same note names as the musical alphabet, so it's just still A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but you either have a sharp or a flat after that. And you don't need to worry too much about this for now, but just realize that if I'm on an F, if I was to go up a half a step, now I'm on an F sharp, because sharp means to raise the note. So F is the 1st fret, F sharp is the 2nd fret. But it can also be called a flat. So instead of this just being an F sharp in the 2nd fret on the 6th string, if we were to start on G, you can think about it this way. G is in the 3rd fret, which you should know from the last lesson. If I go down half a step, now I'm on G flat, because flat means to lower. So sharp is to raise, flat is to lower. That means this note on the 6th string 2nd fret has 2 names. It's either an F sharp or a G flat. And that's what's called enharmonic equivalent. So it's the same note with 2 different names. And the name that you call it depends on the musical situation that you're in. And don't worry too much about that for now. Just realize that any note that has a sharp also has a flat. So if you think about a piano with the black keys, all those black keys are sharps and flats. And every one of them can be called either a sharp or a flat, just depending on the musical situation. So sometimes this is going to be called an F sharp, sometimes it's going to be called a G flat. For our purposes right at this moment, you can just think of it as both. This is an F sharp or a G flat. Same note, 2 different names. So that means any place that you have a whole step between natural notes, so like we just went over from F to G is a whole step, in between is going to be a sharp and flat, and it's going to be one of those names. It's going to be an F sharp or it's going to be a G flat, because you take the F, raise it half a step, that's F sharp, take the G, lower it half a step, that's G flat. So you end up in the same spot and it has 2 name options. So that means from G we had on the 3rd fret on the 6th string to A on the 5th fret, that's a whole step apart. That means on the 4th fret, that's a sharp and a flat. So you can just go and figure it out that from G, if you go up half a step, that's G sharp. Or you can think about from A, go down half a step, that's A flat. So the 6th string 4th fret can be called a G sharp or an A flat. And the same anywhere that you run across whole steps between natural notes. So from A, we went to the 2nd fret for B. So if we go down half a step to the 1st fret, that's an A sharp or a B flat. Because A, open string, up half a step, that's A sharp, or we can think about it going from B on the 2nd fret, go down half a step, that's B flat. So this is A sharp or B flat. And between B and C is a half step, so there's no sharp and flat between B and C. So there's no B sharp and there's no C flat. If you ever run across that, it's something that just happens in certain musical situations, but if you ever see something like a C flat, that's just a B note. It's just it might have to be written that way in a musical context to be a proper way to write it. But don't worry about that for now. Just know that in between B and C is no sharp and flat. So think about a keyboard. Between B and C are just 2 white keys. There's no black key in between them. So then from C on the 3rd fret to D on the 5th fret is a whole step. that means right here is a C sharp or a D flat, because C, go up half a step, it's C sharp. D, go down half a step, that's D flat. So C sharp and D flat in the 4th fret, 5th string. And then the same thing on the 1st string, it just mimics what's going on the 6th string. So right here in the 2nd fret is F sharp or B flat. Right here on the 4th fret is G sharp or A flat. So those are the sharp and flat notes that you should memorize for now, and it should be really easy. Just think about the natural notes, and then if you know you're on a place where you're not on a natural note when you're first learning this, just think, oh, down here is an F, that means this has to be an F sharp, or you can think right here is a G, so this has to be G flat. But the note names stay the same. They follow the musical alphabet, and they're the same note names of the 2 notes that it's in between. And again, those notes are called enharmonic equivalents. It's the same note, it just has 2 name possibilities. And what you call it is dependent on the musical situation you're in, which is a little more advanced than we're talking about for right now. Just right now, think about it, that it has 2 name possibilities. So for practice, just do the same thing that we did in the last lesson. You can just go with the sharp and flat notes and play them and go F sharp or G flat, G sharp or A flat. There's only 2 on the 6th string. Then do the same on the 5th string. A sharp or B flat, C sharp or D flat. And just do that. It won't take very long since there's only 2 on each string that we're worried about for now. You can do it on the 1st string as well, but that's just the same as the 6th string. And then do it just one name at a time. So for example, just do sharp. So F sharp, A sharp, then the next string, A sharp, C sharp. So just do sharps. And you can stick with one string at first until you really have it down. I'm just showing you on both strings right now. And then the next time through, do flats once you have the sharps down really well. So you go G flat, A flat, B flat, D flat. So just again, remember, each sharp and flat has 2 name possibilities, or enharmonic equivalent, same note, different name. So do it by saying both names, just so you really get that in your mind, and then do it with just sharps, and then do it with just flats. And then once you can do that, you can mix those up and play them randomly. So you could play, doing it with just sharps, you could go F sharp, C sharp, A sharp, G sharp, in whatever order, mix it up. And you can add in the 1st string as well, which mimics the 6th string, and do that over and over. Then do it with the flat names, so you could go G flat, D flat, G flat on the 1st string, or whatever. Just mix it up. And then once you have it down with the sharps and flats really well, add back in the natural notes. And you can start by playing it in order like we did with the natural notes. So E, F, F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp or A flat, A. That's the 6th string. Just do that over and over. Go up and then down. You can start by saying both names the first time through so that you get that in your mind. And remember, you play the note and say it, or play the note and say it at the same time, so that you can really lock it in your mind what that note sounds like. Then the next time through, you can do it with just a sharp name. So E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, and then back, and then do it on the 5th string and the 1st string. Then you can do it with the flat names, E, F, G flat, G, A flat, A, and back, and so on. And then mix it all up, and then play any of the notes, natural or sharps and flats, in any type of order. You could play G, B flat, D flat, F, E, whatever, just in a random order, and really make sure that you know where those all are, and then do it with the sharp names. Then you can do it with both the sharp and the flat names. Just really do it over and over in as many ways as you can think, and that's going to lock this in your mind and in your ears. And eventually that's just going to be so natural to you, you don't even need to think about it. You'll just know automatically, oh, I'm on a G sharp or an A flat or whatever. So again, you can just move on to the next lesson now and just add this into your practice routine and do it over and over again. Be sure that you get all the natural names down first before you start adding in the sharps and flats. But once you have the natural names down, add in the sharps and flats, do it over and over, just a little bit each day, and it shouldn't take too long to get them all down, and it'll be totally natural to you that you can automatically know what note you're on just anytime you're on one of those notes. So again, just move on to the next lesson now, and we'll keep moving forward.